Okay, so welcome this evening. This is kind of the second time we've tried to gather some of our new preservation people together. It's very exciting because every time we have somebody new person, which is great. So welcome this evening. What we're going to do is go through individually with some of the people who are rehabbing houses here in Wheeling. There are 11 on my list. I see one person's not here yet, but she told me she'd be here, so she may be on her way. I think everybody else is here. We'll zip through these and then at the end allow time for people to interact with each other in case you find someone who's a new neighbor that you didn't know or someone who has some skills that you need. So we will move forward with our talks. And Maddie, you are up first. Maddie?
Thank you.
All right, Maddie McGregor, part of the McGregor family.
Yes.
And they have this house in Center Wheeling.
This is our house on Chaplain Street, Center Wheeling. So it's just right next to the historic Chaplain Row, not technically on it though. We bought this house as a family in 2021, so we've been here for about 4 years, and we've been working on it ever since then. It is a labor of love, and we often get asked the question, how much longer until you guys are done? And I say, oh, we'll never be done. There's always going to be things to do. But it's come a long way. This is a pretty updated picture, so some of y'all may have seen the picture originally when we did the Friends of Wheeling tour. It used to have what we called eyelashes on the front because it was covered in aluminum awnings, and that was one of the very first things that we did. And then because those were on there, the capitals that you see on the portico there, those actually were redone. We had somebody come in and redo those because those had been chopped off. So there's a lot still to do. I'm constantly having to look at the before photos and the after photos to remind myself how far we've come, because sometimes it feels like we've got a really long way to go. But it has just been the adventure of a lifetime, and it's been so fun to get to do this with my family and spend time with my parents and my sister, who now is spending the year in Scotland, but she will hopefully be back to continue to help me.
Okay, great. Thanks, Maddie.
Yeah,
and
you're
you can
welcome.
just put that down on the table there. Virtual person, I hope. Peggy? This is a house on Hamilton Avenue, and Lori and Bill live in Philadelphia, and so I'm going to put her on speakerphone, and we are going to see if this works. Lori, are you there?
I'm here, Jean.
Okay, all right, good. So I'm holding the speakerphone up.
Long story short, but my uncle was a hoarder, and he had this house, purchased it when I was probably in my 20s, and he never lived in the house. And he never married. He was single, didn't have any kids. My mom's his only sibling. And so we agreed, my husband and I agreed to help him, probably 10 or so years ago. And we started cleaning out. And it was a process because he was a hoarder and he didn't want to clean things out. So little by little, we made progress. And, I guess as you're flipping through the slides, I'm showing a little bit of a mess and a little bit of the progress that we've made. And, so we put a new roof on with the help of Friends of Wheeling and the loan program. And that loan was paid off, and then our second loan helped us with painting the exterior and interior of the house. And, that was really necessary. We were trying to come several times a month to clean out and do what we could and, get rooms fixed up one by one. And so we've made some progress. In the meantime, my uncle had passed, and the house belongs to my husband and myself now. And we decided a few months ago that this is where we're going to retire. So We're excited about that, but now that makes a little bit of changes because, we need to really make the house accessible. We have a handicapped son, so we need to make it a little more accessible for him, and just make a few changes, trying to keep the historical integrity of the house in place, and maybe a kitchen addition or an extra bathroom for our son, and that's kind of where we are right now.
All right, Laurie, this is very inspiring. You don't really count as a new preservationist because really you've been doing this for quite a while, but we're thrilled to know that you have chosen Wheeling as your retirement home. So other than the house, is there any reason why you like Wheeling?
Well, my mom is from Benwood, so, grew up in the area. I spent my summers as a child in Wheeling. Many years, my brothers and I would, we romped around Benwood Pool and putt-putt and whatnot, and took the bus into Wheeling and shopped and went to movies. And so I have very fond memories of Wheeling. And, but also, compared to Philly area, Wheeling makes a lot of financial sense for us. And that was really a big factor in the decision process for us.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being with us. And as you know, we're trying to stream this live on Facebook, so you can probably follow along for the rest of the presentations if you'd like. So good luck to you, and we're glad you're coming to Wheeling.
Thank you so much, Jean. Take care.
All righty, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Peggy. All right, Sean. Many of you know this as the Christmas house. Here we have some Texas people. Am I right, Texas? Yes, Texas people who decided to come to Wheeling. And
I'm going to talk.
this is, who's talking? Sean's talking. All right. And what would you like to tell us about your house?
Well, let's see. We bought this house in the September of 22. The past couple of years we have pretty much concentrated on the major appliances and stuff first. Like we've gotten all the HVAC systems redone. We've had the plumbing redone. We've had gas redone. And this year we're kind of excited because the spring we get to start on the front of the exterior of that house. So I'm going to be sanding them columns and painting and hopefully trying to restore some of that, especially the little decoratives right there on that peak there. I'm going to give it a freshen up that look, but it's hard to see what we've done to the house so far, but because everything's hidden. But so I'm gonna work on that right there, and then unfortunately I got to work on the staircase because I had an unfortunate accident falling down the staircase. Took out half the balusters, and those are irreplaceable. I can't even find somebody to do a rope turn baluster. So I am going to have to kind of modernize that, unfortunately, but it will look nice. So.
All right. And I apologize. I don't have a picture decorated for Christmas, but
I'm sure everybody's seen one.
Everyone, I think, just about everybody in Wheeling knows the Christmas house. So,
yes,
and it's been an inspiration for the whole neighborhood. I think it's beginning to spread down the street, and this is great. So, why'd you pick Wheeling? How'd you end up here?
Well, we actually drove all over the East Coast when we were looking for a place to live. We stopped and looked at that house, and then we continued on down to Virginia, and we went to North Carolina, we went to South Carolina, and the farther south we got, the bigger the spiders got. So it kind of drove me back up north a little bit. But one thing that we chose on this one was, her brother lived down in Belpre at the time, which is for me, it's a couple hours away to go visit. So him far enough away that he can come visit every once in a while, but not too often. But in all seriousness, we love the history, and Wheeling, we noticed, has some of the most Victorian houses in one spot, and we love the old Victorian houses. That's one of the reasons why we bought this house. And there's so much rich history in this area that from where we're from, I'm from Amarillo. She's originally from Columbus, but she's been in Amarillo since '93, and Amarillo only goes back to 1887. Here it goes back a lot farther, and I love history, so. Yeah.
So great. We're glad you found us, and we're glad you're here. Did you make the right decision?
I believe so.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked that.
No, we're satisfied up here. We do love it up here.
Great. Okay.
And I think, you know, in all honesty, if I did try to move, I would probably get strung up on the island because they don't want me to leave.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sean and Jamie Viles. Yeah, great. All right, next we have another virtual, the second of our two virtuals, and this is a house that has been sitting empty for quite some time, and we're hoping that pretty soon Chris and Bree will make it to Wheeling. Chris, can you hear me?
Jane, how's it going?
All right, Chris, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, all right, I'm going to put the phone up to the microphone, and you can tell us how you discovered Wheeling.
Hi everyone who can't see me. I can't see you either. I'm working right now, but I was just telling Peggy I was in the process of investing into Oklahoma for rental use, and the seller had cold feet because it had sentimental value to him. So I was kind of stressed out about it and couldn't go to sleep one night. It was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just went to the office in the home and started working on other things. And I told myself, I was like, you know what, if he backs out, like I'm just gonna move along. And the house that we purchased, 727 Market Street, I saw the photo and just browsing, and I looked at it. I could tell it needed to be rehabbed, but I just thought it was a beautiful home. And I went to sleep on it, woke up and felt good about it, talked to my wife about it. I made a trip, and I mean, I've never met just a city just full of nice people, so talked to my wife. We decided to invest into the neighborhood initially, and then when my wife came down, I tried not to pour my feelings onto her about how I felt about Wheeling. She loved it. So it went from, hey, this is an investment, to, hey, let's try to move to Wheeling. So it's been a year, last November of 24, and we are trying our best to get there.
This is great. Okay, and I have met Chris and Bree, and they're a lovely couple, and we're looking forward to having you here in Wheeling. So, Chris, get up here. Although it's been really cold here this week, you may want to stay in Texas. I don't know.
No, I like it cold, but my wife doesn't really care for it. But she wanted to play in the snow. I was just telling Peggy we got snow on Tuesday in Texas and in the Austin area, and by 2 o'clock there were no signs of snow. Water. So
yeah.
We didn't get to play in the snow, so we're trying to get to play in the snow probably for 1 year, and then the next year we'll probably be upset about it. But
well, night before last it was -7 here, so which was a record. I'm sure by the time you get here it won't be that cold.
Gotcha.
All right. Thank you so much, and keep in touch.
Of course, Jane. Thank you all.
All righty. Bye-bye. I got it. That's right. Lisa. We'll get you hooked up with the microphone here, and Lisa is the proud owner of what was Uncle Pete's and then was Carlito's, and will it have a new name, Lisa?
You turn it on.
I think it's on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need this one then?
Both, yes.
Both. Okay. Hi. My husband, Tom Vladeris, is sitting right back there. Yeah. He could come up and do commentary too if you'd like, but. Well, yeah, we're not exactly new preservationists either, and I'm sure probably some of you were there for our house tour this past fall. We have an old farmhouse out in the county that we redid. We've lived in it since 2001, and we just kind of did it room by room. But yeah, I decided that we're gonna spend our children's inheritance now that I've retired, and this is our next baby. Yeah, yeah, this wasn't a real good day. Yeah, we we met with the structural engineer today, and yeah, and the contractor was there, and we got some bad news, you know, about the deck and everything that's going to have to happen back there, but it's going to be okay. What's happening actually right now? Of course, it's 3 stories, and there's space down beneath the main floor, the restaurant. There were 2 businesses down there at one time, and I guess there was some water damage a few years ago, a water pipe break or something in the cold. So those just have to be kind of gutted and start over. But I do have the apartments occupied on the 2nd floor. The 3rd floor apartment is kind of like a short term. It's like a furnished apartment, and yeah, so it's actually empty right now, but the last tenant just moved out at the end of October. So it's open for rent right now. And the main floor, the restaurant, we do have a restaurant moving in. We've got a lease signed, and Hangover Barbecue will be moving in. Yay. Hopefully I'm not too premature saying that. Yeah, I'm very excited. Those people are just the best people, and the food is great, and I'm really proud to be partnering with them and develop the space with them. So if anybody wants to help me decorate, I really want to try to take the interior a little bit more back to the Victorian roots, but I don't want it to feel too stuffy or dressy to be a barbecue place. So I'm kind of struggling with that a little bit. We have got an interior designer helping us, and I love the color palette she picked out and some of the wallpapers, and I hated every light fixture, and I told her that because they all looked like modern or something. I don't know. Yeah, but so I'm not sure if I'm going to be best suited to kind of redesign the inside, but we're going to try. It's going to be really, really nice. And we're going to have to do a lot of work on the deck because we want to get it, like, everything up to code and everything totally safe. But that's one of the best parts of that building is, you know, the bar and the deck on the back with the view of the river. I mean, it's awesome. So it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of compromise, but I think it's going to be worth it. So,
do you have an idea when the restaurant will open?
Their lease starts February 1st, and they're hoping to slowly move in. They would like to open in May, but yeah, some of the work we have to do in the back may slow us down because the front entrance would be the only way in and out of this building if we have to do a lot of work on the deck and replace all the steps in the back. So I'm not sure. Hopefully we can get that stuff done so that they'll have a second means of egress in case of fire emergency. So we have to make sure that that's done first. But at the very least, I think they could do carry out, you know, like they have been, you know, until we have the whole thing opened up in the back. So we'll see. I have to work with inspectors and, you know, keep it all above board here and make it all safe. So, yeah.
This is exciting, and we really need something in North Wheeling to go have a bite to eat. So terrific.
It'll be great. Their food's incredible. If you've never been there, yeah, we're going to make this a really fun place to eat, I think. So, yeah.
All right. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
All right. Natalie Minyard, there you are. Natalie will pass this on to you. I don't know, Natalie, do you count as new?
I don't think so.
Well, you're new.
Lingering.
Well, there you go.
Lingering. I first came to Wheeling from a Craigslist ad. I bought a property in Center Wheeling, in Center Market, about 20 years ago, having no idea what I was doing, but I just fell in love with this incredible building. Online, the owner had created a website with 80 plus pictures of absolutely everything from the toilets to the mantles to the woodwork, and then he also added pictures of the town, and the price point just did not make sense because he put it on Craigslist in northern New Jersey, and I'm like, there's no way, this has got to be a scam. And then I figured out, okay, no, this is not here. But I was in love with the building at that point. I'd already fallen in love with it. So I sent it to my mom. We went through it over the phone. She fell in love with it too. And 2 days later, I was here pretty much buying this building that I was so excited to own and I was so proud of. But 5 years here, things weren't quite moving along. The transition that I saw possibly happening was not maybe happening as quickly as I'd hoped. It was hard for me to stay in New Jersey where I was making my money to be able to take care of this property. And what I guess we all know is that, and I did not know, is how much work these properties need, how much money, how much love and attention. And we just kind of decided we needed to hand it off to people that would take care of it and could take care of it and had the money to do what I couldn't do at the time. I felt like I was a guardian, not really taking care of it the way it should. So put it on the market and I sold it to the people that are there now and they still love it. And I see her regularly and she's very happy to be there. And we moved away. We left. We're done. Bye. And what we did not know is my sister had met her future husband here. And so 6 months later, she starts dating this person back in Wheeling, and we're like, what in the world? And then she moves back here. And then when it was time for my mom to find a place, because of the affordability of this town, my mom was able, on her small little Social Security, buy a home here with a second rental. And so she's able to live here on her small little Social Security very happily in a house in Warwood. And so great, now my mom and my sister and my nephew and everybody's back in Wheeling. I sold everything, and so I had to start buying again. And but it's tough to kind of get financing for the homes that are in major disrepair. And I went and took the program at Belmont, the BPR, Building Preservation and Restoration, which I highly recommend. I mean, I cannot believe that is not a bigger program because it's incredible. Highly, highly recommend it, even if it's just a class or two. But I crammed the degree into a year, going back and forth from Jersey to here. And that was really important to me because I didn't want to take on another property and not have any idea what I was doing again. And so I didn't have the funds to buy some nice fancy $200,000 home. So this one I found on Facebook. In fact, the person that bought my property in Center Market sent me the listing because I kept bugging her, hey, if you ever maybe want to sell that one back to me, I'm back. And so she sent me the listing and a little bit of back and forth with the owner. It had been in horrible disrepair, vacant for 3 years. And before that, it was, some rough stuff was going on. It was in Center Wheeling. And so the neighbors had actually talked to the owner about buying it and just knocking it down so they didn't have to deal with the riffraff of what was going on. So I then went to the neighbors and said, hey, I'm cool and I want to do something nice with it. If you don't want to buy it and want to actually let it get brought back to life, that's what I'm trying to do. So actually it looks a lot different right now. I would say it looks worse at the moment because we're actually fixing that porch. But there's a lot that's happened in the last couple of weeks. And so, we're getting there. It deserves to be beautiful again. And I'm excited to be part of all this. So nice to meet everybody and see everybody again. So.
Great, and we're looking forward to seeing it when it's finished because Natalie has some great ideas.
Trying. We'll get there.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. All right, Michelle. This is a picture taken yesterday, and so it's in progress. Yes, this we locals would have called the Red Cross building, right at the entrance to the interstate from Main Street. So Michelle is the owner of this and is working on it madly.
Yes, madly is a good word. So I'm Michelle Mayberry. I'm from Blacksburg, Virginia, and I had renovated a few places back there, but I had been looking for an historic home to work on and had to find the right combination of a home that had beautiful features that needed mostly just cosmetic work, was at a good price point, and in a place that had potential for growth. And I became interested in Wheeling when I first saw Betsy Sweeney's videos online. And then this particular house I saw in the Friends of Wheeling home tour that was online. And I thought, well, I really would like to go see that. And I came up for a weekend, checked out the town, checked out the house, and I knew immediately that I wanted to make this my next project. So yeah, my plan is to convert it back into a single family home. We've been working madly for the past year, just getting a new roof, new HVAC. It needed 5 different HVAC systems. We're started the paint. That was a fiasco. They were supposed to finish before it got cold, and it looks like that right now. So little by little, we're getting there. And we're working on the inside too. So a lot left to do. It's going to take us a little while, but a year after buying it, I am still very excited about this and glad to be here in Wheeling.
And we're glad you're here too, Michelle. So you have done this kind of work in Blacksburg then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not a historic home. Progressively, the projects have gotten larger over time. This is probably bigger than we've done before. So
great, and it's such an iconic building that it's terrific. And it's looking, even now it looks better than it did.
Thank you.
People will say, "Oh, you mean the pink building?" And no, it's not pink anymore. Yeah. Thank goodness. It had faded. The pink had faded anyway. So I like your color choices. So good job.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully in the spring we'll have that done, and yeah, it'll
great.
Be nice to look at.
Great. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, this next house, the person didn't pick Wheeling. The person was here by default because her husband got a job here. There's more than just that. There's more than that. So, Hillary Kinney is here, and this is her house on Edgington Lane in the Woodsdale area.
Thank you. So I'm originally from Moundsville. Grew up in Moundsville, but my mom's side of the family is from Wheeling, so I did spend a lot of time here as a kid. After going to WVU, I was like, oh, wow, I have to go chase my big city dreams. So I went to New York City, where I met my husband, Eric, who could not be here tonight. He wishes he could. And after maybe like 6 months of dating, I said, like, time to go home, meet my family, see West Virginia. And he is a big winter sports guy, so I made sure to like take him to a Nailers game and all of that good stuff. And he fell in love with Wheeling. So the few years of us dating and like preparing to get married, we kept thinking about what life could look like here. And in the fall of 2023, we started looking at some old homes. We got in touch with Betsy and Wheeling Heritage to just learn about the support and the resources available. Looked at a home in East Wheeling. It wasn't the right fit. Last summer, we looked at a home on Main Street, and it was purchased by somebody else. We were outbid. No worries, but the time was ticking because we had plans to move in September and get married in October. And so, thankfully, we got to tour this beautiful home built in 1905, 1907, I think. The day it was put on the market, put in an offer the next day, and ended up moving in a month later. So we are so grateful to be in this home. Unlike some of you, I have so much respect for all the work that you are doing. I feel very grateful that this house is in amazing condition. It has, I think we're only the 4th owners of this house, and it's about over 120 years old. And the original family, it was in their family for about 60 years. So it was loved and cared for a really long time. Although I hope that we have like a project home in the future, I think that I'm going to learn a lot about like the technical aspect of preservation through little things like tearing up the carpets and redoing the floors, and like exposing some of that beautiful, the beautiful wood on the mantles that has been since painted over. So looking forward to those little projects. I wanted to just share, just for anybody who's watching this or who does watch it, who is considering like buying an older home. Our thinking, I think there were like 3 points that really drove home for us, like why we wanted to buy an old home. First and foremost, like we really do view homes as like storybooks, I guess, in a sense that like every owner is maybe a part in the book and every memory is like a chapter in that part. And so it feels like a true privilege, especially in Wheeling, a place that's so close to me, to be able to like continue that story and legacy. The second point would be when we started looking at homes, we reached out to Wheeling Heritage, we reached out to Jean, and were immediately like met with help and support and kindness. And I think in this like day and age, it's really hard to find community, especially for young people. And there is like a loneliness epidemic in this country. And I think that there's something so special about the preservation community here in Wheeling that we just really wanted to be part of. I think we felt like if we purchased this home, became members of Friends of Wheeling, we would have friends and a support system. So, like, thank you for all that you all do. We feel totally welcomed being here. And the third thing, I think, this might be a little like out there, but there is such a culture of like consuming new things and like getting new things every day, all the time, as quickly as you possibly can, like in 2025. And I just don't think that things have to be new to be special. And if, anyone out there who knows someone who's on the fence about like buying an old home, maybe you want to just share like the magic that is in these buildings and homes and places. So, thanks so much. I look forward to learning from all of you and like taking on more challenges and learning more. So thanks, Jean, also
Great.
for asking
All right.
me here.
Sure. Thanks, Hillary. And if any of you went to the 12th night ball, Eric was Captain John McClure and Hillary was a riverboat passenger, and they were dressed to the hilt. They were beautiful. So we're glad you're here, and we're glad you're taking part in different activities here. All right, Bryant, you'll notice that I have called him Floyd, and I just met him yesterday, so that's actually his legal name, but he goes by his middle name, Bryant, so I apologize for the error on this slide.
Well,
but
I have
we'll
to
fix
say,
that.
Hillary, you hit every point that I was going to make, so I can make some different points. That was a home run, okay, and a hard act to follow there. But I want to say it's a pleasure to be here. I moved here from Arizona. I spent 25 years in Oregon. I helped to restore some places in a little teeny town called Ashland, Oregon, and also in another town that has 1850s and whatever heritage in Jacksonville, Oregon. I spent 25 years there after leaving the military. After spending 25 years in Oregon, I needed a change. So I decided to move to Arizona, where I spent 10 years there. I still continue to play in houses and things like this, but I went from older homes to new construction. Yucky, okay? Yucky. No quality, no character, no story, right? So what drew me here, I decided that I was kind of getting bored and I needed something else to kind of fill some time. So I started looking and I ran across videos of Betsy and I seen some of what Willing Heritage was doing and what they could offer and the wonderful restoration work that was being done there. So I bought a house remotely through a wonderful realtor here. You guys have a lot of amazing people that will treat your money like it's theirs, and represent you in the proper way. So you're very lucky to have that community base. For us, I bought it remotely. I flew over here. I fell in love with Willing. And I went home and decided, hey, we're selling and we're moving to where there is community, Hillary, and there are people that have answers and people that care about what we're doing. I feel that we're in a great place where you can build your dream on any level, whether it's a large, beautiful building like Carlito's or the other building or your home or this little half of the townhouse I have. One of the reasons that I want to be here and be in this community is I want to help people with their projects. I want to share the skills that I have, and cumulatively, we have how many hundreds of years of skills here? Some people know electricity, some people know brick. I know how to handle exposed brick very well, and I can teach you. I'd be willing to help in any facet. And I've spoke with Jeannie about this and Scott, and I'm more than welcome to give advice or help. And that is something that's rare. So I feel very privileged to be here. And I look forward to meeting you, attending these meetings, and being at anyone's disposal in any capacity I can. So that's me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And Michelle wasn't able to be here. She had root canal, I think, today. They're living in Fairmont at the moment. And, if you've ever had a root canal, you can imagine she wants to just kind of hang loose for a little bit. But you are here. And his name is Bryant, so just remember that. Thank you. Thanks for being here. And it's a charming little duplex. They have the left half, which is 323, and it's on the upper limits of Main Street. And good for you. All right, Bitten. Bitten is here. Bitten and Kirby Pringle live in the end house of this row of houses in East Wheeling. And in a minute, next we'll have David Sanderson, who owns 108 and 108 and a half, which is just up the row. But Bitten is here with this one, and I also have a picture of your church to show.
Do I use both of these?
Both, yes.
Hi everyone, I'm Bitten. I moved here from Los Angeles I guess it was almost a year ago now, with my partner Kirby. When we first moved here, we actually lived in Moundsville for a bit. There was a home that we were interested in on Main Street, and it just didn't work out for us. So we temporarily stayed in Moundsville, rented a tiny little apartment, and ultimately we wound up moving into this beautiful row home in East Wheeling. And we were really fortunate that the house is actually in incredible condition. So we haven't had to do much restoration on it. The main problems I had with it when I first moved in is that I got lost in it constantly. So there's also 40,000 stairs in it, so that's also that contributed to the issue. But I really love it. It's kind of like every day I wake up and then I think to myself, I can't believe I'm living in a house this beautiful and this large, especially coming from Los Angeles, where I was renting a 450 square foot apartment and paying $3,000 a month for it. So this is quite a change. And we wanted to move here because, well, really it was too expensive for living, for what we were paying. I got to the age where I thought, it's probably time that I actually own a home. And my partner, he's a historian, and when we first started dating, it became very apparent that we're both obsessed with industrial architecture. So he said, well, I want to take you to Wheeling because I think you'd really like it here. I visited a couple times. So I traveled out with him and I just fell in love with the city. I think it's beautiful to look at. It's a stunning place to live just because you see incredible architecture from all different eras, but also just the scenery itself is like so romantic, I think. Where we're living right now, it's pretty quiet. I would love to see more people move into the area. I think that there's a lot of real estate over there that actually I see all the time, and I think it would be great if there were more people kind of interested in moving into these places and preserving them. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens there. But yeah, then this is so another purchase we made was this church in North Wheeling. Actually, I should say Kirby purchased the church. I've been helping him clean the church out for a couple months. So what can I say? There's so much to say about this church. This was the second oldest church in Wheeling. It's unfortunately been in disrepair for quite some time. And what happened was we were interested in finding a building that we could potentially turn into a music space. And Kirby had driven past this church several times. He felt really compelled by it. And he kept talking about it and then finally decided to figure out what was actually happening with the church because he could tell that it hadn't been very well cared for. Got in touch with the owner who lives next door, and she said, I haven't been able to maintain this property, and I feel kind of bad about it, and the city's kind of been all over me. And if you're interested in potentially restoring it, then I'd be willing to talk to you about selling it. So that's what we did, and it's been kind of a process. There was a lot in the church itself to begin with. We slowly kind of tried to part out, but it's incredible being in it because you think about just generations and generations and generations of people who have spent time in that church, had celebrations. I mean, the architecture of the church is stunning too, the stained glass in it. So right now we're at the stage of basically we have to secure the wall that's facing down on Main Street. It's deteriorating. And we're working with the city on that right now, so that's where we're at. Yeah, but those are the two buildings.
She's being very polite about cleaning it out. This is another hoarder situation, and I don't know what it is. Do other cities have hoarders like Wheeling does? It's just incredible. I don't know where they get all this stuff, but
yeah. Well, it's interesting. Many years ago, when I was about 18, I lived in Kansas. And I actually cleaned hoarders' houses for a living. So I kind of have some experience with this. I just kind of dive in and you just go for it. And whatever you find, you just deal with the emotional aftermath later. But yeah, it's fascinating what people hold on to, that's for sure. It's like an archaeologist, a largical dig.
archaeologistic, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Bitten has actively joined the community. She's recently been named to the Wheeling Arts Commission, and we welcome her to that. And she has a great plan. You want to put in a little plug for your film noir?
Oh, right. I'm hosting a film noir festival in April 25th, 26th, and 27th at the Scottish Rite Cathedral in the theater. So I hope you all can join. I'm going to be showing 8 films, screening 8 films. We're also going to have presenters before each film, so it'll be either a film historian, a local historian in Wheeling who's going to tie in some aspects of the film to the area itself. Wheeling actually has a pretty rich history of production too. I don't know how many of you know about that. Also Pittsburgh, so lots of producers and directors and actors came from both areas. So we're going to talk about that. There's also going to be music and a full concession stand with lots of old timey candy. So
Sounds like great fun. And the dates again?
April 25th, 26th, and 27th.
All right.
Yeah,
Terrific.
you'll see posters up around town. See there'll be a website where you can purchase tickets.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bitten. And wait, one more before you go. Did you say that it was Kirby who discovered Wheeling first, or how did you end up with Wheeling?
Kirby discovered Wheeling. So Kirby was really interested in. Well, he had a focus when he was in school actually in early American country music. So he started researching Wheeling because of the Jamboree. And he actually wrote a huge paper on the Jamboree when he was in school. So one of the main reasons he wanted to hear was for music. He wanted to kind of bring a lot of music back to the area. So we also purchased the old Moose Lodge in Moundsville that we're turning into old country and rockabilly bar. So we've got a lot of stuff going.
And Kirby is in Mexico where his mother is ill, so that's why he's not here tonight. All right, thank you. Thank you. Now, just up the street from where Bitten and Kirby are living are these row houses. She is the end house of the row houses. And then there are 2, and then there are 2 more. And David Sanderson owns the 2 more, 108 and 108 and a half.
Yes. So the reason why I'm in Wheeling is because of 106 and 106 and a half, which is the duplex in the middle. I saw that duplex offered for sale, and the reason that I was interested in it, again, why I'm in Wheeling, is because I'm a collector. I collect books, I collect art, I collect movies. So I'm glad to hear about I'm glad to hear about a film festival. I'm sure I could host one myself because I have 10,000 movies. All right. I don't have any idea how many books I have. All right. I have 4 storage units in 2 states, plus a house in Pittsburgh that are all full of books. Okay. So Wheeling is where I could afford to have enough space for all my stuff in one place. All right? So that's why Wheeling. Now, I saw 106 and 106 and a half for sale. I immediately contacted the realtor. I didn't hear anything back. The first call back I got was, it's under agreement. So I was very disappointed. But I went and looked at it anyway from the outside. I saw the French bakery a block away. That's a big selling point. And I just remained interested in the area because I thought it was a nice, the aesthetic of that particular block on the street was very nice. So I kept my eyes out, kept my eyes open, and several months later, 6 months, 8 months, I don't remember how long exactly it was, less than a year, 108 and 108 and a half came up for sale. So he said, aha, okay, so I will buy those. And they're kind of scary inside, need a lot of work, but I was optimistic, and I was I just wanted to be here because I would have enough room. Okay, so before I closed on the duplexes, this property, 80, came up for sale, 2 blocks away. It's bigger than the duplexes. Okay, so I bought it. And I thought, oh, well, okay, this one is actually in pretty good shape. Maybe I could fix it up and then go back and fix up the duplexes and, have the 2-story library room and all that crazy stuff that I want. Okay. But getting people to actually come and do things for you is extremely difficult. So I found it's been extremely difficult. So after 2 years, the main thing that has happened is I've had the furnaces replaced. But again, after 2 years, now we're in the middle of a project to redo the roof area, to replace the roof, to recondition the eyrie at the top, to take care of the plate or the tin plate below the roof line at the front. And that was another project that should have gotten, the brickwork for it should have gotten done before it got cold, but it didn't. So it's deferred until the spring. Anyway.
All right. And David comes back he's here a good bit, living just in Pittsburgh. So
yes.
We're looking forward to when you're here, and I'm looking forward to seeing your book collection.
Me too.
All right. Okay. Thank you. That's the last, I believe, of the in-person. Scott, you're not here. Scott Petrock. Okay. So I have some pictures of some other projects for people who were not able to be here, and I'm just going to run through these very quickly so you have some idea of what's going on in Wheeling. This, some of us know as the Onion Factory. This is, if you're coming to the library and you come down the exit to get onto 16th Street, you'll pass it. It's on the right. It's kind of behind the new soccer field that's there. And Scott Petrock is working on this and rehabbing the apartments in the upper floors. This originally was a car dealership back in the day. 718 and 720, Matthew Tancliffe owns these two. 720 he owns in partnership with someone else, and he's working on both of these. These happen to be adjacent to the Friends of Wheeling houses that we're working on. So he's back and forth between the two. They're next door to each other and making great progress. This is one of my favorite stories. This is 614 Main Street. Beautiful house. Isn't it lovely? This is what you see from the front, okay? And I took this picture in 2021. And I took the next picture the same day, and there's the back of the house. Now, the picture on the right, Roger took later after he acquired the house, but you'll see on the left that it had major problem. And the story is, here we have another hoarder, and I don't call David a hoarder because he has a specific focus. The man who lived here, well, Joanne and I walked through, and we had to walk through single file through this house. It was completely packed. It was a tenant with an out-of-town owner, and the tenant neglected to tell the owner that he had a roof leak. Well, this went on obviously for years. This is the third floor. The third floor had collapsed down into the second floor, which had collapsed into the first floor, which had collapsed into the basement. And the North Wheeling neighborhood periodically has a neighborhood cleanup day, and I was helping with the cleanup. You can't see the back of this house unless you're in someone else's backyard. And so the city was not aware of this. There's no alley back there. The houses are close together, side by side. And so the city didn't know. So this was on a Saturday. I called the city or sent a picture to the city. And on Monday, they came and condemned the house. And the tenant had to move out. The owner was brought in and tried every possible roofer around, and they said, well, we can't do this. There's nothing to support the roof. It's too far gone. So what does she do? And now the city's on her case, rightfully so. So I said, well, let me call Roger and see if he has any ideas. So Roger came over and he looked at this and kind of shook his head and, okay, well, too bad. I guess we're going to lose this one. He thought about it overnight and the next day called her and made her a ridiculously low offer to take the house as is. And she said, yeah, she just wanted to be rid of it. And so he came up with a very ingenious plan where he started on the first floor, which had been the kitchen before it collapsed into the basement. And he rebuilt the kitchen floor with exterior grade plywood that could withstand rain. And then from there used scaffolding to build the second floor and then the third floor. And is at a point now where he even added a dormer on the third floor, so that attic room will get a little bit more light. So he also owns a couple other properties in Wheeling, so he can't work on this nonstop. So it's taking him a while, but he's doing a terrific job. Meanwhile, most of the hoard is gone. The story is when he started in what had been the kitchen area, he had given the tenant like 6 weeks to move his stuff out. Well, at the end of about 5 weeks, Roger said, look, I got to start. I'm going to start in the kitchen. So come over, please, and just take out what you want in the kitchen. So the guy came over and he kind of looked around and picked up a wooden dowel and said, well, I might be able to use this. And, from there it just, so eventually it had to have the major clean out bit, and we're sorry we didn't have you to help with the hoard. But he's making amazing progress, and he intends to live here when he's done. He was originally from Florida and somehow stumbled into Wheeling, and as I say, has several properties that he's working on and doing beautiful work. This is number 86 14th Street. If you came to our preservation dinner, this one last year got an award for the exterior facade. The interior needed some work. This had been a lawyer's office, and they were, I guess, retiring perhaps. Anyway, they were selling the property, and so John and Heather Hughes purchased it. Heather is sick, and that's why they're not here this evening. But they were at the 12th night ball too, and they're going to be great assets to the neighborhood and good neighbors for Bitten and for David. This house is the good buddies of Sean and Jamie. This is 219 North Huron Street. Carmel and Lane Sanders. Carmel had to work this evening, and he had to go pick her up around this time, so that's why they couldn't be here. Carmel is the one who contacted Friends of Wheeling about Miss Mary's house, which is another big story. But these folks are from Mississippi. They were driving through and thought, well, Wheeling kind of looks interesting, and ended up, like Bryant, buying a house remotely. The realtor walked them through, and they said, okay, we're going to buy it, without seeing it in person. But they've been a real asset to the neighborhood and good neighbors, helping their other neighbors there, also working on cemetery projects and so forth. So we're glad to have them with us. Sharon David. Many of you know Sharon. She was last year a half-time AmeriCorps member with Friends of Wheeling, and this year is with Ritchie-Town Renaissance, the South Wheeling group, and also with Preservation Alliance of West Virginia. And last week she closed on this little house, and it is adorable. David Gano is helping her do some work on it, and it will be just lovely. I think I'll put the arm on her, and maybe we can get a before tour there. Judy and I walked through, and it's cute. It's a really charming little house. This one we toured last fall, 218 North Front Street. Every time we tour a building, we try to do the history for the owners so they have some better sense of what came before. And this has an interesting history in that the original owner had been born a slave. So we really like this one. This one's on North Front Street, so it has one of those huge backyards that goes down to the river. 716 Main Street. This is the fifth in the row next to where Friends of Wheeling has their house, which I'll show you in just a minute. Julius Cucci has purchased this. He's from Florida. and he and Matthew Tancliffe are the ones who own 720. So this has been empty for quite some time. He's got good plans for it and hopes to get here soon and begin some actual work. This house is a different color now, but this was the picture I happened to have, and I forgot to go take another one. Diego and Gina Gateska have purchased this, and I think maybe a couple of you tried to get it. I think Hillary, yes, and Diego, I guess, bought it out from under you. I'm not sure. This one needs a good bit of work, so I think you were wise in getting Edgington Lane. This was originally the home of Charles J. Rawling, who was the author of the history of the 1st West Virginia Infantry. He also owned as rental property 323 North Main, which is where Bryant is working on the duplex there. 821 Main Street, this is the one, we've toured that before. You may recall this has the absolutely gorgeous stained glass throughout. And a couple from New Jersey have purchased this. They were here last summer. I'm not sure when they're coming back. He didn't reply to my request for this evening, but Michael Bergamini is his name, and we're looking forward to having them here. Last month, I guess it was, I met the new owner of 67 15th Street. He is from California, but more recently in South Carolina. They purchased this house, and although it doesn't look that great in the condition that it's in, you can see that if that add-on second floor room was removed, it would be a lovely home. Being on 15th Street, it's not quite in the best neighborhood with 14th Street, but 15th Street is getting there, and it's good to have someone rehabbing a house, and this will look nice when it's done. And then, of course, the monastery, I didn't put a picture of it in its current condition because it looks really ugly. Lucy Gurian owns this. She was one of the investors with Roxby. And when that went belly up, she inherited, if you will, the monastery. She has gotten 2 grants already to work on it. One grant is for the exterior work. They, of course, can't do that stucco work in the wintertime. And then she had a roof leak and was able to get an emergency grant from the state Historic Preservation Office. And she's in Texas. She's been in touch with me several times, and I'm not sure she really wants to keep it forever, but at least she's working on it while she does own it. So that's the end of the kind of new projects that we're aware of. I'm sure there are others. Let me just point out a couple things. This is the homepage of Wheeling Heritage, wheelingheritage.org. Please visit it. You'll see on the left side there, it says watch video, and there's a really nice promotional video. Jonathan and Dylan probably did that. They're in the back. Point them in that direction. If you scroll down on that page, you'll see here the partners of Wheeling Heritage, and up there on the right is Friends of Wheeling. If you click on the Friends of Wheeling link, you'll get a variety of information. Part of that information is our Preservation Loan Guarantee Fund. We have a fund in West Banco in an investment account that we use to guarantee loans for people who want to rehab their buildings. This can be interior or exterior, residential or commercial. Our loans, we just increased the maximum that you can get, which is $30,000 for 5 years. And we have been offering these at prime interest rate, which can save you big bucks. But we've just worked a deal thanks to our treasurer, Steve Suler, who came up with the idea. We may be able to offer loans below prime. And we do have some money sitting there. Natalie is using one of the loans. You heard from Lori Carano, the house on Hamilton Avenue. They're now on their second one. They paid off the first, and now they're on the second. And so that money is available. The application form is very simple, and it's right there on the site. Right above there is another little video, thank you, Dylan and Jonathan, showing some of the work that we're doing on the house on North Main Street that we, I don't know, in a weak moment, acquired. This is the project, the Hughes duplex, built in the 1840s. It was probably doomed when we got it. It had been completely gutted on the inside, not even the second floor, and had to be held up with bracing on the exterior to keep it from falling down. So we have been fortunate to get grants and donations to do a good bit of the work. The windows on the left side of the duplex were done before we acquired it. We have a grant to do the windows on the right side. So the windows have been removed and are in a shop. And we have a grant to do some masonry work on the rear of one half, but that's another thing that can't be done in the wintertime. We have a long ways to go. So when you pay your dues, if you would like part of your dues to go toward this project, just make a note on your membership card, and Steve will segregate that money so that we have some to support Friends of Wheeling in general and some to support this project. One other announcement, and that is one of our spin-off groups is the Cemetery Foundations, Ohio County Cemeteries Foundation, and Jay Fry is leading that up. He is here this evening. And Saturday there will be a book sale. Oh, David. There will be a book sale from 10 to 4. You better get there early before David does. And it will be in the lobby area of the Artisan Center building there at 1400 Main. So if you want to help support the work of the cemetery, that's the place to be. And with that, so far we don't have a tour set up for February. I checked with Chuck Wood today. His the Firehouse bookstore is not quite ready for us, so that'll be down the road a bit, and we'll figure out something for February. Are there any other announcements that we need? Okay, then we have this room up if we need it for another hour. If you want to network with some of the other people here, new neighbors, people who have volunteered to help you do stuff, and others. John Smith is here. John, give a wave. John knows how to fix anything, so if you have a bizarre problem, just ask John. He answers bizarre questions. So, welcome, and thank you for supporting Friends of Wheeling.